unfortunately in this country, every politician that comes, they have never understood that this country has 140 crore brains to train. So there are multiple attributes that this kid has to have to get into these branded institutions,
Right.
which could be a normal institution according to me. But because the entrance is so tough, you get the best of the best.
Right.
That doesn't mean the other kid who has not gone, it is not right. Maybe his time has not come. Okay. Maybe he will do well at a certain age, at a certain part of his life. I would like to send this message across to everyone out there who's a budding and aspiring entrepreneur. That
Hi, sir. How are you?
very well, thank you.
Well. Great. So let me know a brief intro about yourself.
So quick one, done the traditional thing because as you can see that parents would have really pushed us to do engineering and MBA when we were young. Okay, so gone to IIT and then XLRI, did my MBA. Then worked for a couple of big multinational bulge bracket banks between Bombay and Hong Kong. And then left all that in 2010 and went into coal mining and coal trading business as an entrepreneur. Went through a lot of ups and downs after in the next 9 to 10 years that I spent in coal mining in Indonesia and Singapore and Hong Kong.
Yes, sir.
So as Vikas mentioned, we are both from IIT Roorkee, 1995 batch, went in different directions from that point onwards. He went into the banking side of the industry. I went into IT, spent about 22 years in IT industry with large corporations at various locations across the world, US, UK, and then finally came back and we met at the reunion and we said, let's do something different. And
Any incident, right, that happened, maybe, a story that you'd like to share. Why into dairy farming? I mean, after so long working with the corporate, why you got into dairy farming?
I think we both have spent a lot of time abroad. We would have seen a same product, which is milk, into the most cleanest form of a product being consumed on a daily basis across the families in these countries. So when we realized that the milk in India could be challenging because there are millions of farmers having millions different kinds of technique to produce the same commodity, which is milk, a farm commodity milk, or agriculture commodity, because milk is the biggest crop in India. So it will never have the same guarantee that it is being made in a way or it's being prepared in a way where it can bring all the benefits of a clean milk that most of these foreign countries or the foreign farms provide to their consumers.
Okay.
So hence we thought that why not get into this and try to solve one problem.
basically it was a continuation of commodity for him. But what we also wanted to do, since I was from IT was very, very big at that time. A lot of startups were coming from IT space. However, what we also looked at is we wanted to have something with a corporate social responsibility.
Okay.
And milk, there were a lot of news items around that time where WHO had mentioned about X percentage of milk in India being adulterated and things, which is where we also said that, okay, this is a space which probably requires people who come with the right mindset, people who can understand and see how we can produce the right quality of milk, which we had consumed in different countries that we have spent and stayed, and probably try and get that milk out to every person in India through our journey or by supporting and helping farmers to build that for their own farms and then produce the milk of that required quality. So that is where the genesis of starting with a dairy company happened. And yeah.
If I can add, quickly, and this, I think, beyond these things, as we grew, as we entered the industry, we understood that that the market makers in this country are the 18, 20 cooperatives, which are run by and controlled by the government, the state governments in respective state who run these. So as a market maker, they are the ones who are defining the price at both the end, at the purchase side, which is the bid price, and on the sales side, which is happening in the city on the offer side.
Okay.
Now, when these things happen, actually, and when you have only one buyer, then it's actually a monopolistic situation. So as I understood the business, and along with Vishal, we said we have to create a category, just like rice has a basmati and a wheat has a sharbati rice, or I'm assuming that other farm commodities do have a categorization based on how the quality is. Milk doesn't have it. And hence the reason we said we'll try to create a large brand, try to disrupt, attract consumers, especially the youngsters who are now very conscious of what they are consuming, whether it is through their eyes or through their mouth, because it's a food that they're consuming and the content they're consuming from their eyes and ears, right? So that is where we said that we will try to create a category called farm fresh milk, where we'll have, at least in India, the market is so huge, they can have 4 to 5 or maybe 6 players, and they can continue to categorize it as a farm fresh milk, which is equivalent to like a basmati rice. Okay. So if you are a discerning consumer who needs something more better, then farm fresh milk category is available to you, which was not there earlier, and hence the reason we want to democratize this market. And I think, given that, you should also understand milk is one of those last standing. I don't know how to put it, a basin for government, because in finance and banking, you have choice between SBI and Bank of Baroda versus ICICI. Right. Yeah? Now, this happened all 20 years back, because that's when the internet democratization happened.
Absolutely.
So now I think it's the time that the milk or these commodities which are being controlled by the government can have democratization, and that's what we're trying to do.
Great. Now, what I have come across, I mean, there are a lot of companies, right, into dairy farming, organic farming, right? They claim to be putting up a label called clean label on their product, right? What is that in organic product?
First, you have to understand that clean label and organic is slightly different.
Okay.
Clean label comes for processed food, which could be made from organic ingredients. So your dal, your pulses, your spices, all of that can be organic because they have been made or grown on organic farms, which means that there is no pesticides or no chemicals which have been used to grow them. Now, once they come to you, you can use them to process, right? And there is addition of chemicals which happens during the process of processing. Now, these chemicals actually serve different purposes. So you can have preservatives, you can have emulsifiers, stabilizers, or unintentional chemicals which creep into your system without your knowledge, right? Now, a clean label product ensures that none of the chemicals, so it is also called no secret, hashtag, all of those could be 0% chemicals. So the clean label basically is saying my product only has the ingredients which was used, which could be organic, natural, whatever, and there is no other added chemical that has been added as part of processing. Okay. So now you can rest assured that whatever you are consuming, you're not taking that chemical through your food into your body. Okay. Having said that, it's not that all of these chemicals are harmful for us, but there are a lot of chemicals which over a period of time is identified reasons for different form of diseases, right? The most recent one was where WHO said the sugar-free, right? The chemical which is used in sugar-free drinks has been now found carcinogen. Right. So, which is what is there. But it may not happen that you consume one sugar-free drink and it causes it. But since these chemicals are there in a lot of other things, when you consume 5 different items, the quantity which you have consumed could be higher than the prescribed limit for this element, and which can cause the thing. So the question now is, do you really want these to be part of your food chain?
Yeah, that's right.
That's what a clean label means. So organic, clean label can go hand in hand. Organic,
but these cannot be called organic product then.
No, these are still organic. They can still be called organic product because they are being made from. That's why I'm saying the input, if it's organic, the output can also be said as organic. But you also have a clean label on top of organic. So these are two different things.
Okay. So I have a question. I have seen a lot of marketing, right? Marketing campaigns where they also claim to be saying, we have completely organic product, organic milk, organic ghee, organic curd, right? So, I mean, is that a myth? I mean, are they really completely organic?
I can begin. I think Vishal can add. He's an expert there. I think as Vishal said, if input is organic, output can be, right? Now, just for the sake of understanding this, let's assume a cow to be a machine. Okay, essentially, as I said, the milk is the biggest crop. Now, a crop needs a lot of input. Similarly, here, cow is just a machine. You give input, which is all feed and fodder and everything, and it gives an output in form of milk. Right? It's an instant crop actually. It's not an instant. It's like a one-day crop. You feed today and you take the milk. Yeah, but other crops have their own gestational period of 3 to 4 months or 5 months, or other vegetables have 4 to 5 weeks, depending on how you put the seeds and then put the water, and then you let it come to the ripening stage, and you pluck it and give it to the consumers. So in this case, it is just a 1 day's gap. Now, if this feed and fodder is not organic, the milk cannot be organic, no matter how much anyone claims that we do all the right practices, because the content of these feed is all coming from farm. The cows eat the same thing what we eat, end of the day. The same field which produces wheat, which can be used for our chapati making through atta, can have the feed and fodder grown into them, and it will go to the cow. So the farmer has a choice whether to make something for the cow or make it something for human consumption. But ultimately, it is the human which is consuming it, right? So if you give it to the cow eats it, produces milk, and then we consume it. It's exactly the same. So if this input is not organic, then output cannot be. Now, to make the input organic in agriculture, it's a gargantuan task, which means that you have to first make the field in which you have used it for millions of years to grow crops. You have to make that organic. You have to remove the traces, the field, the soil.
Yeah.
You have to make it organic. So that there's a process for it. Now, once you do that, is when you have to put the.
So can you brief about the process of making the field organic? I mean,
I think Vishal is the right.
How does it work?
So basically, it's a 3 to 5 years process.
3 to 5 years.
That's correct. That's officially what it takes for you to get certified organic, your land to get certified organic, and alone you cannot do it. So it has to be a cluster of farmers all around, because the moment any one of them uses a pesticide, it will automatically make it into the groundwater.
Okay.
So anything which can make it and then come back onto the crops has to be totally avoided. So it's a slow journey of transformation from where you are to an organic, where you bring a lot of people together. In India, this journey started from a state called Sikkim, which is 100% organic. So it is not that India is not moving towards organic. India, there is a lot of conscious efforts which is being done to convert a large part of land parcels into organic, but it is a journey which we are on right now. However, as Vikas mentioned, if you have an organic land, it is a really valuable piece of land. What will you grow on that? You will grow things which are more for human consumption, because that's where you will get the premium. You're not going to grow grass on it for cows to feed. Right? You can actually grow grass without doing any pesticides or anything, which normally most of the farmers anyway do. So a lot of time people say, I have organic milk because I am giving green grass or the green fodder, which I haven't used any chemical to grow, which is okay, which is a very simple way of thinking that I have done this, and hence what I have given to my cow means my milk is organic. But green fodder is only one component out of many things which goes into feeding of the cow. And a lot of them are actually waste material from process like mustard oil. So when you make mustard oil from mustard, the mustard cake which comes out is a byproduct which goes into the feed of the cow. There are many things like that: cottonseed oil,
rice bran,
wheat bran. So the question is, now each one of these component has to be certified organic, right? Which in the current context of India is difficult to achieve.
A lot of difficult actually.
And the cost of getting, even if you want to do it, then you have to make that material travel to your farm from a large distance, which would mean the cost of doing it is going to be skyrocketing. So in my humble opinion, in a country like India, yes, maybe in the longer run, we may reach to a point where we may have certain farms which may be producing organic milk. But at this point of time, it is probably very, very difficult to produce 100% organic milk. And that is how I see being working closely with farmers, running on my own dairies. I can know what goes in, and hence the output that can come out, whether that is. Rather, even from a pulses perspective, and this is my personal opinion, I think what we should, as consumers, should look at is natural, right? Natural, it should be something that needs to be more important at this stage while India continues to be on their journey of organic, because till the time we can eat natural stuff, which automatically means the land may not be organic, but it has been produced with the best practices. No pesticides or chemical has been used. That food is also really good, and it's not as expensive as organic.
Okay. Now, if you have to, explain me about the products, right? How they are. Even how do you market them? As I said, as I mentioned, many of the companies have been promoting them as a completely organic product, right? Now, in case of your company, how does it work?
Want me to take it?
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
So first, let's understand what Happy Nature is. Happy Nature is a direct-to-consumer brand, right? Which talks about clean label and which talks about breakfast essential. So we are a direct-to-consumer clean label breakfast essential company or a brand. So let's understand direct-to-consumer. I think so people understand. Clean label, we have talked about it, what clean label means.
Yes.
So none of our products has any of these chemicals in the system. Which obviously means that there are certain things which we have to take care in terms of the shelf life, in terms of how to handle that, which is what we do, and which is what we manage through a logistics chain all the way up to consumer doorstep. And then the consumer is anyway keeping it in the fridge and everything works very well. So that is what we do, is create these clean label products. Now these clean label products follow a theme, which is the breakfast essential theme. Milk and dairy being a very large part of that theme.
Right.
But as you see, there is no single brand who is there which covers the breakfast need. There are many brands which covers your entire kitchen cabinet. So they probably will have groceries. They will probably have a lot. But what we are building is curating each of these products one by one, making sure that I create them clean label, which takes time, money, and research, and then adding it to a list of products so that I have it across all the breakfast segment that you need. So starting from dairy, milk, breads, eggs, preserves, peanut butters, proteins, so on and so forth. So this is what we are trying to build. And within this, we are slowly introducing a ready-to-eat concept as well, which would again be all clean label and would have no preservatives. You simply open it, eat, make it at your home, add whatever you want to add to it, and it's ready. So that's what we are building. That's the thought on basis of which we are curating all of these products. So I think this clean label thing actually extends into when we look at our business. Actually, we say we are trying to create a logistic company, because end of the day, there's so many brands so many things that we do under the similar brand or the umbrella of the brand umbrella, right? So the idea here is that all these chemicals or whatever Vishal has just said, just take an example of preservative. It is put into the food to preserve it, right? That's why it's called preservative, right? So that it has an extended shelf life. As a company, we are not like a typical D2C where the logistic is being managed by someone else. We are managing the logistic, and it's a cold chain logistic. So if I have developed a cold chain logistic to your home, I can do all clean label products. Because I don't need that preservative, because I'm coming directly to your home. Yeah, so I'm not putting it on the shelf where it requires preservation, because you will come on one evening and then buy it, or maybe you might not come that evening, you might come next evening, right? So here is a tech company that we are building where you order everything on the app and it arrives at your doorstep the next day or the same day. Okay. Now the whole idea of preservative is not needed in the food anymore. So if there is a product that we have and it requires an emulsifier, just because so that all the liquid proportions are mixed properly, that emulsifier is no more required.
Okay, so hence all these elimination is happening. For people for all the products that we do, and this is what we want to do, because we do believe that as the country grows, the youngsters need to have a proper food and diet, and that is our goal. Ultimately, the consumer has to win in this thing, right? And hence the logistic is something that we look at very seriously, because it's the logistic which provides us this ability to do all this clean label. We can clean up any food right now because it's a cold chain logistic all the way to your house that we are building it up in multiple cities. Right now we are in 12 cities. We are running it across some 10,000, 12,000 consumers on a daily basis. These are all subscribers, right? So there is no one-time buyers and all that. People like our products. They want to subscribe. They go on a subscription, leave the subscription open. We deliver it every day, and then they pay to us either prepaid or a postpaid. And that's how the business works for us.
Okay. Now, if I talk about the process, right? Suppose I went to your app, I ordered milk, right? How does it reach out to customers?
So let me start the journey from the point the milk actually comes out from the udder of the cow. It's better to explain it that way.
Absolutely.
So the moment the cow gets milked, the milk has to be chilled, right? Which is where the quality of the milk, you're basically freezing in time. The moment you bring it down below 8 degrees, closer to 2 degrees to 4 degrees, you've now stopped any deterioration in the milk from happening, which is what we do. We are not using any chemicals or anything to preserve or extend the life of the milk. That's the first step. So all my farmers have to have a certain amount of required infrastructure by which they can do this. The first is there obviously is no human touch milking, means it has to be machine milk, because every time you use your hands, you can bring in an element which could be a bacteria or something which can obviously increase as the milk gets through the journey of the process. So two things, hand-free milking and immediate chilling. So that's the kind of milk that you are getting. Now this milk, when you order, is getting packed overnight and getting delivered to you next morning. Now that's part of the cold chain, means that the moment the milk is packed, it goes into cold rooms where it is kept at 2 to 4 degrees. That's the range which we want to manage. From there, its journey starts at about 2:30 in the night to 3 o'clock in the night, where it goes into a refrigerated vehicle. From that refrigerated vehicle, it comes to the nearest hub, which is serving you as a consumer. There, the delivery boys have insulated bags, saddle bags, which we call, where the milk comes out from the refrigerator truck, goes into the insulated bag, and is getting delivered to your doorstep by these delivery boys. Even at your doorstep, if suppose you are getting a milk at 5 a.m. in the morning, you don't want to wake up to receive it, you can have an insulated bag hanging at your door. The delivery boy will leave the products inside the insulated bag and you can pick it after 2 hours. Now, throughout this journey, what Vikas mentioned, the cold chain logistics has been maintained. And this is the journey of the milk from the farmer all the way up to your doorstep, is how it happens. So you order in the evening till to 12 a.m. Next morning, you get it based on the delivery.
Till 12 a.m., right?
Till midnight.
Midnight. And it delivers in the morning.
In the morning, yeah. Between 5 to 9 o'clock.
5 to 8:30.
8:30. Okay. Now, the A2 Desi milk has been of the price of twice. I mean, in the market, when we check out the prices of this milk, it comes around 105, 10, something like that, right? So maybe if you could explain me, about A2 Desi milk and how is it different from normal cow milk and why the price is so much higher?
Okay. So let me first break this A2 Desi milk. What does it mean? A2 is a type of protein which is present in milk. It could be A2 or A1, right? Desi cow is the indigenous breed which has produced that milk. This indigenous breed could be as Gir, Sahiwal, Tharparkar, Rathi, and there are many which includes some South Indian breeds as well. In a context of Indian thought process, it is always that our breeds produce the best quality of milk, and there are certain scientific reasons why it is thought so, and it is also true also from a micronutrients perspective, and I think so that would mean I need to take a lot of your time, but let's just keep it simple. So now the A2 protein coming from a Desi cow, an indigenous cow, is what we call as A2 Desi cow milk. the reason why it is more expensive than the regular milk, because the number of desi cows and the quantity of milk that they produce is very small compared to the HF and the Jersey cows from which the regular milk comes from.
Okay.
And hence, from an economic point of view, these cows produce lesser milk. Each cow individually produces about peak would be about 10 to 12 liters, in case 8 to 12 liters in Indian breeds, versus in HF cows, which can go all the way up to 50 liters of milk on a single day. So now you can see that the quantity of production is very high. So from a financial economical point of view, people would prefer to keep HF Jersey cows versus an Indian desi cow.
Right.
So it is a demand supply thing, which means that if you want A2 desi cow milk, obviously it is scarce, and hence you have to pay more to get it.
Right.
As I mentioned, it is A2 protein, which is also said to be easy to digest, and hence better for people who, maybe your child, maybe for yourself if you have issues in terms of digestion with milk, or with old people who again have a digestion issue with milk. Otherwise, there is no other scientific reason why there should be a differentiation between an A2 or an A1 milk.
Right.
But yes, desi cow milk, from a perspective of the Indian indigenous cow breed and promotion of indigenous cow breed, is also taking a lot of steps in the right direction now through government supports and other things. So hopefully the pricing should come down, but that's the reason why it's higher price and how it is different than the regular milk that we normally get. As far as cooperative milk is concerned, the cooperative milk, until you have to buy a cow milk separately. But if you buy the regular milk, it is a mixed milk. It will have buffalo, it will have cow, it will even have camel, depending on, because the milk cannot be differentiated once it is there. It's very similar in terms of milk is milk at the end of the day. So that is where that's a mixed milk. Then you have a cow milk, and then you have an A2 desi cow milk. That's the reason.
Okay. So let me know the price of 1 liter of A2 desi cow milk.
The selling price, so I mean, there's a way to position it with the consumer. So selling price on our app is 106 rupees.
Okay, 106.
So for the subscribers who are taking it regularly. Right. Otherwise, if you are taking it one time, then it is 120 rupees.
120.
Yeah. So if you're not a subscriber, you just come onto app, want to purchase it. Of course, we'll not say no. It's business to us.
And it's also a function of the packaging. So the 106 is for a gable top, which is one of the most premium packaging.
Yeah. So because we run our business in multiple cities, and Delhi being a tier 1 city, there are a lot of consumers who want a great looking packaging. So we do gable top, which is like a Tetra Pak, but less tiered inside, because the milk has to be consumed on the same day. It's a fresh milk. So we do gable top. It's 106 rupees. In the pouches, it comes out to be, I think, 94 rupees a liter or 95 rupees a liter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if I need to understand the business of it, right? If I talk about the unit economics, how does it work? I mean, what kind of gross margin do you have on this product?
Okay, that's a good question, Noor. Let me put it like this. Okay, as I said earlier, there are commodities which can be branded. There are commodities which cannot be branded, the bulk commodities, right? So in our case, what we do is, it's a milk can be branded, right? So and it can be sold as a branded product. But we all know it's a product which is natural and coming out from the farms and the farmers, right? So in our case, what we try to do, and because this is a basic commodity, it's a commodity which is very nutritious for anyone in the family, from child, which is more than a year old, all the way up to someone who's 80, 90 years old. So when you have something like this, and where the consumption is very high, and where the consumption is on a daily basis, you cannot have a very high gross margin, because it will disrupt a lot of things for a daily breakfast needs, right? So what we try to do is that we try to manage the gross margin between 30 to 35%. Okay. Now, there are many reasons for it, which means that 65 to 70% of the money is actually going back to the farmers, and which is where Vishal mentioned that it's a part of responsibility. So we are trying to, as I said earlier, that we are trying to democratize, which means if we are able to help create a category in this country, which is a farm fresh milk, and then other milk is all milk, just like basmati rice and all rice, right? right? So if that happens, then we are able to create a different set of farmers altogether.
Right.
Okay, these farmers' income will go up because of the effort that companies like ours are making in the business across multiple cities in India. So this is where we try to keep the margin in line with what consumers can pay for on a daily basis, without inflating their daily breakfast bills. So this 30-35% is something which is acceptable in the business. Out of this 30-35%, you can imagine 65 to 70% has gone to the farmer. Okay, and the farmer then has paid back to a lot of other farmers who are producing the feed and fodder for the cows and the water that is coming, or you can see that the economy, that the money is shifting from the cities to the villages on a daily basis through milk system right now, especially in a country like ours right now. So definitely it helps a lot of farmers to break from that 1 to 10 farms and start putting up a larger farm and start cleaning up the milk. So that's the motivation that happens behind it, the 70%. On the 35%, what happens for us, the last mile delivery is the biggest cost, because that's to be done to the consumers. In that case, what happens is that we spend somewhere around 7 to 8% of this 30% left with us. So it's not 7 to 8% of the 30%, is actually 7 to 8% of the total 100 rupees that we make as a revenue. Okay. So now, which means that of that 30%, it is basically around 25% of the cost which goes towards a last mile thing. Then we spend somewhere between 6 to 8% on branding, marketing, sales activities, because that's the essential activity. Because if we are able to get consumer and subscriber, then only we are able to do all the things behind with the farmers, right? That's where we get the revenue from. So we spend around that much again out of the total revenue into getting it. So out of the 35 left with us, again, that's around 20-25% of the overall thing. Rest of the thing is employee cost, and then technology cost, and then miscellaneous costs, wastage, losses, all those things that happen on a daily basis in our business, because it's a retail business that we are doing. So that's how, end of the day, when we look at our business, we think that at some stage, as the business grows to a certain size, if you were to ask me what is that size, I think if we reach 800 to 1,000 crores of revenue, and if we are able to make a net profitability of maybe 4 to 8%, somewhere between that, I think then we have done a good job. Okay, because that's where it should. So without inflating the consumer's daily breakfast bill, if we can do this, then I think it's a great job that we have done in this country for consumers who are trying to have 100% clean label food products for their daily breakfast needs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I hope I'm able to answer your question.
Yes, absolutely. So if I have to know the growth of the company of previous years, right? How it has been in terms of acquiring customers, in terms of numbers, if you could talk about.
Yeah, we have grown very rapidly in the last 3 years. We have grown between 70 to 80% year on year with very frugal capital. I think we kept the company very lean for a few years because we are a little mature in business, so we understand that till the time we don't have our understanding very clear that this is a large market and can be disrupted, then why to raise a professional capital? Till the time we can do with our capital or by bootstrapping, let's build the company to a certain level and then scale it up. Okay, so I think we've reached that point, that tipping point. We have now professional investors. They have all come in the last 1 year, although the company is running for a couple of years right now. So I think that's where we are right now. So we do a decent revenue, unless you want to know the numbers.
That's
and we have been recently, in the last round that we raised capital, so the professional investors, valued us somewhere around 100 crores and pumped in to take some equity in our business. So that's where we are. That's been our couple of years of journey that has resulted into where we are today. And I think it's a long journey still. So it's not an easy journey if you really ask me. This is the second time I'm doing it. And the pain points are still the same as an entrepreneur.
Now, your company has raised funding. If I can ask, how much is the funding amount?
So far for doing the work for last couple of years, we have raised around equivalent of, let's say, 2.2 million US dollar in Indian rupees.
Okay.
So whatever exchange rate today is 80,
so it's going to be 80, so 16, 17 crores.
16, 17 crores, correct.
Right? Okay. Now, there are a lot of there are a lot of founders who are from IIT, IIMs, and this becomes easy for them to raise money. Now, when we compare it from the normal people who are coming from any ordinary college, right? So this becomes tough for them to raise money. I mean, is that a myth? I mean, why does it happen? There has been a lot of questions on this. Okay, is it easy for IITian or from someone from IIM to raise money easily?
Okay. Okay, let me answer. This is going to be a little interesting answer from my side. I mean, Vishal can add, right? Because it boils down to personal view. I think unfortunately in this country, every politician that comes in, now it's gone into political, they have never understood that this country has 140 crore brains to train.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
The day someone does that, can you beat a country like India? It's not easy, because there are 140 brains which are trained,
Right.
and they can do all the things that can be done on this planet, right? Or they can do all the things that they are good at, right? Now, what has happened in this country, unfortunately, is that some institutions were created. Let's not name them. I mean, I've just been fortunate to go to IIT and XLRI, okay? And I don't like to, brand it, because I believe that everyone, including everyone sitting in this room, is equally talented. It's just a matter of how they were trained and what kind of resources has gone into them. So what I believe is that, unfortunately, in this country, somehow these institutions were created, and they put one of the toughest exams for people to crack it. Now, think about those attributes at an 18-year-old kid that needs to have to get into these institutes. He has to get up on his own. He has to be self-motivated. If he doesn't get up in the morning on his own and studies, he cannot get into it, right? He has to really be fiercely competitive. If he falls and fails, he has to get up on his own and try all over again. Okay, so there are multiple attributes that this kid has to have to get into these branded institution, which could be a normal institution according to me. Okay, but because the entrance is so tough, you get the best of the best. That doesn't mean the other kid who has not gone it is not the best. Maybe his time has not come in. Okay, maybe he will do well at a certain age, at a certain part of his life. And this is where the biggest myth has to be busted, that it is not about IIT. It is just the system has created that. Tomorrow, if you create everyone like this, everyone will be from IIT. So these attributes actually help the companies. Okay, so the companies have gone to the best of the colleges. The best companies have gone to the best college, hired those guys, and they become big. Okay, and the brand has again got reinforced that you have to be in IIT to become a CEO of XYZ company. Let's not name them right now, but that's not true. Everybody can be a CEO. So hence, I think I would like to send this message across to everyone out there who's a budding and aspiring entrepreneur, that ultimately it boils down to few attributes. If you can bring that, the money will flow. The company will build, nation will go ahead, you will create a lot of impact, but you have to be consistent, and you have to be really passionate, you have to be persistent, and you have to actually go through a lot of failures and still stand there and say, I'll do it. And that is where I do believe that it's not IIT or IIM. It's just that happened that these people have those attributes, and they are the ones who are in the forefront all the time. But I think at some stage, youngsters like you will even democratize this. Okay, and this myth will get busted very soon, and everybody will have access to markets, because now you have access. So today I see so many of you doing all these stuff. It is because this got democratized by some of the top companies in the world. It will have capital also. It's just a matter of time. So go ahead and do the right things.
Just to extend this question, it's not only about IITs, IIMs, or a lot of time you'll also hear the question that the funding is easier to be raised for tier 1 city entrepreneurs versus a tier 2 city or a tier 3 city entrepreneur. But I think as Vikas said, it's about what you are actually trying to build, how clearly you are articulating your thoughts in terms of what you're building, and the proof that you're able to put on the table. And the attributes that you show as an entrepreneur is what matters. If you see, Dhirubhai Ambani, any of them, the Adanis, none of them have the IITs or the IIMs degrees, but they have been able to build such large businesses. They need business acumen. They need an idea. They need a team. If you are able to crack these three, I think so everybody can see through the probably nobody would like to know where you have come from or what educational institute you have come from till the time you have these three at the right place. And I think so a lot of people in tier 2 cities, in tier 3 cities have now started to realize it. And again, platforms like Shark Tanks is giving them the possibility of coming onto national TV and presenting and showing their whole idea and how well they can articulate it. And I'm sure this is just a beginning. There will be many more opportunities like this that will arrive. So where I don't think so the educational background will matter. What you put on the table, it would be the proof of your success.
Okay. One last question I have for farmers, right? Since you are working with the farmers, right? The farmers are actually the pillar of the company, I believe, right?
Pillar of the country, actually.
The pillar of the country. I was actually talking about the company, fine. So, in terms of their growth, in terms of their, payout, right? How it has changed if they were working on their own and now if they're working with Happy Nature.
Okay.
So, yeah.
See, again, let's look at it demographically. 58%, I could be misquoted, but 58% of India's population still lives in villages. Some of the states, villages don't look like villages because they have developed a lot. Some of the states, you go to real estates on the western side of it, villages still look like a village, right? So when you look at a farmer, actually, that's very entrepreneurial activity he does, okay, because he has a farm, which is an asset on which he basically tries to put a crop, takes the risk of weather and rodents and all that for 3-4 months, depending on what crop he's putting it. Then he basically takes the crops and tries to sell it to a buyer, either in a mandi or to someone who comes on his field and says, I want to buy it here only, and I will do the logistic. So this is where the biggest challenge has been, as I mentioned earlier, when you have only one buyer, which is the government, who is always deciding the minimum support price.
Okay.
So when you have one buyer, then the whole system of democracy fails over there. Because he will put something called minimum support price. Yeah. I'm not against the government. Please don't. People don't get misquoted by it. But if the market is not efficient, then the guy who's monopolizing the price will try to keep it lower. Okay, under the reason or garb of anything that it's a poor country and we need to buy it at this lower price. So what you are doing in exchange is that you can keep 58% of the population of a nation poor. Okay. Now this poverty actually reflects onto the world because we are making a lot of things cheaper in the world. Right. Because of this reason, okay? Right. Because if the food is cheap, so is our education, so is our everything, and then we go out in the world and work as blue collar or white collar labor or jobs, and then we either, if we really fight for the same dollar and equality with the foreign counterparts, then we tend to extend a lot of our timings into those companies and says we'll work really hard, okay? So instead of working 8 hours, then you're working 16 hours for that company for the same equality that you're demanding from a foreign this thing. So ultimately, that's also giving a discount to that company. Right. So this is happening across all India. So hence, what we think as a company is that first thing we have to continue to. That's the reason we said if we can create a different market and a different equivalent of a basmati rice, which we are naming right now farm fresh milk. I don't know how this will be branded later on. If that happens, then we'll have a different set of farmers having a different set of payout. They'll be equally well rewarded for their hard work and entrepreneurial skill, which they bring the milk to production and all the way to our processing plant. And and they continue to enjoy the rewards of their hard work. And that is what we're trying to do. And this has just started actually in India. So again, if you really ask me, a lot of these basmati rice farmers have been able to do it. A lot of these sarbati wheat farmers have been able to do it. Why can't farmers in milk can do it? So that they need a marketing company, and that's what we're trying to build. So I think we are not a pure dairy company, but there are a lot of people who are trying to do this. They have solved the first end problem of a processing plant all the way to the consumer end. What we are doing is, of course, we have also picked up those leaf and we have solved this problem, but we have gone behind also. We said from the farmer up to the processing plant also needs to be solved, and they need to be paid out well. And hence we charge a premium because they are doing a good job, and that premium has to be passed on to them. Okay.
If I have to come back to this question once again, okay? In terms of again payout, if he was working on his own individually, right? He was earning a month maybe 10,000, 12,000. Now after working with Happy Nature, what has changed?
Sure. So I'll answer that question in a slightly different manner. So obviously, as we had mentioned, that there is a certain infrastructure which is required to produce the kind of milk that we are producing, and which means that there is a size of the farm which is needed, which is roughly about 30 adult cows. You need to have that kind of farm. Now, when we go to a farmer or the farmer comes to us, if he has that set of first criteria which meets, is where we start to work with him. We help him to improve the quality of his milk. We have the required, we help him improve the health of their cows. So that when we say no antibiotic milk means we are getting no antibiotic milk, there's a process which needs to be done at the farmer's end. Now all of this requires extra cost at the farmer's end. If you're trying to produce the best quality of milk, there is certain cost that is going in, and there are certain practices which will help farmer also get a better realization in terms of the inputs that he's putting in. So less usage of antibiotic means you're saving that much on medicines. You're getting a better health, and hence you're losing less of money, because whenever the cow's health goes down, the milk goes down, and hence there's a loss. So that is where we start to work with the farmer. Now, when we have made sure that the farmer has the required infrastructure, the SOPs have been implemented, is when we say we'll pick every single drop of milk. Now, think about it that, as Vikas mentioned, that there are cooperatives which are also doing it. They have a rate which is probably similar to others. And as the market is opening, there are other players which are coming in. So, for example, in Punjab and Haryana, there is Nestle, there is Amul, which is a Gujarat cooperative which has now come in. And hence there's more, competition which has come in. And hence a farmer can get a better price for his produce. When we are working with the farmer, obviously we have to take care that whatever is the price point which all of these companies are giving, since he's producing a milk which I can value more than these companies, because for them this is very small quantity of milk which will go and get mixed with a lot of other milk. But for us, this small quantity of milk, just like a basmati rice when it started, probably was very small set of farmers doing it. Similarly for us, we give a particular premium to the farmer over and above the whatever is the prevailing market price. And we enter into a long-term contract. And again, over a period of time, as the farmer gets associated with us, we help him to grow his herd size, produce more milk, increase his income. That is how it has happened in the journey of 6 years that we have been associated with the farmers. Initially, obviously, farmers were not ready to trust us because we were very new, because they never thought that we'll give the milk, paise nahi milenge. But now things have changed, because now they have seen. So now the word of mouth goes from one farmer to the other. We are a fair price master. We are not doing any kind of chori in the fat, which normally happens because there are middlemen involved. So वो सारी problems हमने resolve करी हैं, इसलिए farmers हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं, और उनकी income जैसे जैसे हम grow करते हैं वैसे एक तो हम प्रीमियम दे रहे हैं, which means they are getting better than what they can get from others. Secondly, as we grow, if they have the required capacity to grow, we'll help them grow as well through loans, which they pay back from milk. So there's a lot of things that we provide them. So if you ask me a number, I don't have a number, but I can tell you that pricing could be a rupee or more than whatever is the market prevailing price for a liter of milk. So if you're producing like 500 liters of milk daily over 30 days, you get that much more money. And as you grow, as you produce more milk, you get more money into your account. So that way.